but you gotta put something on there that's like, this is what it's supposed to be. Or we change it to this.
Would you love me better if I go? I'm not home. I wonder. Would you love me better if I go?
Yep. Shotgun, this PC is really sick.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an exciting episode of CLX Foundry Live, where we go deep inside somebody's build and get it together and put it together from the ground up. I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX, and of course, joining me live from our studios in Wichita, Kansas, it is our lead expert, technical expert. Wow, okay, we're starting off well today. Paul Steffens, and the master of all hair, who's also our master builder. It is Zach Killingsworth. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We have a fun, ridiculous build to do today, but first, we have to talk about what everybody's in here looking for. We've only got till tomorrow for you to get your entries into the Star Wars Outlaws giveaway, PC giveaway that's coming out between CLX and Intel. It's fantastic. We can put that graphic up possibly real fast. And
Star Wars.
Yep, there we go. Check that out. Custom designed. Absolutely fantastic. To find out more, all you got to do is type exclamation giveaway in the chat. The links will pop up and you'll be able to see it. Now, there's multiple different ways for you to enter, but there's also a thing called codes. Now, seeing that it's Tuesday, this means the codes are going to be coming out on the green side. Those of you who don't understand what the green side is, that means it's kick.com/CLXgaming. Awesome sauce. The other thing that we're going to be doing is giving away codes for the Star Citizen build, which is amazing. Not only do you get the PC, you get the chair, you get the controllers, you get the pedals, you get pretty much everything. It's fantastic. And those codes will also be dropped on the green side today. Now, people are always asking, but I didn't go to the street. Where else can I find these things? I have an answer. Sorry. The answer is you can check them out on our social media and see if you can find an extra one. That is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming. You can also check out and see if our Discord has any answers for you. That's discord.gg/CLX Gaming. And you can also tune into my show where I will have codes, including today where I'm giving out my last Star Wars code, which will be fantastic. But that's not nearly as important as Paul telling me who are we building this PC for today.
This is for Dennis.
Where are they from?
In Georgia.
Dennis in Georgia. What are we going to be shoving in Dennis's box?
All right, so Dennis has custom configured a RAW for our website. So, starting out with our processor, we've got an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. That's going to be cooled by a CLX Quench 360 AIO in black. You can see it right there. For our motherboard, we've got an MSI X670E. This is the Gaming Plus Wi-Fi version. For our memory, we have 2 sticks of Corsair 32 gigabyte DDR5 6000 speed. It's the white with the heat spreaders on there, so a total of 64 gigs of RAM in this. For our storage drive, we've got a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro NVMe drive. This will be where we load the OS and everything else. For our fans, we've got 10 of our Game Dias Aeolus M3 fans. If you've watched the show, you've definitely seen us use those before. For our video card, we've got an RTX 4090 from MSI. This is the Ventus 3X. We'll get into that a little bit later. And last but not least, our power supply. We've got a 1000 watt Game DS Helios 80 Plus Gold P2. I believe this is the non-modular. No, this might be the modular one. So yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later as well.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. One of the cool things about this show is that in the event that you hear a term or a phrase or we say something that you're not quite familiar with or you're not quite sure what it is, please feel free to ask, because that's our job.
Shatter. Almost smashed the side panel. Yeah.
As we're dealing with the O11, now this is very similar to my build because my build is a white version of this. So, Paul, what are some of the cool features about this case specifically?
Yeah, so this is the O11 XL. Really like this case. It's large enough to fit everything, but what's most unique about this case to me is the 2 hard drive bays in the back. So we've got 2 extra bays. Each one of those bays can have 2 drives, so a total of 4 extra drives if we wanted to fill them up. But they do have SATA data and SATA power connections running out the back. So this is really nice because you can just install a drive in the tray, slide it in, and it will automatically connect. So this customer only has an NVMe drive, but we're still going to go ahead and plug in all those SATA connections. That way, if they upgrade or have a drive they want to throw in, it'll be super easy for them to do.
Yes, absolutely. All right, now while we're pulling that down, let's take a look at what we've got. We're about to be starting with our first thing, and that is our motherboard. This, of course, is an X670E Gaming Plus Wi-Fi. Now, Paul, oftentimes different companies use different letters. What does the E stand for?
So each company, like you said, will have different things for its letters. I'm not exactly sure what the E on this means. Typically that will mean like extended ATX, but I don't think this is an EATX board, so probably just some different designation. It's probably got a few different options on board.
Well, since you're talking about options, we should probably take a look at that I/O shield and see what we've got. All right, let's do it. At the very top, you've got your display port and your HDMI as per usual. Down below there, you've got 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2s. Now, those are 10 gigabyte ports. Down below that on the blues, those are 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports. And then you've got a Type A as well for that. And then you've got a USB 2 Type A, and there's 4 of those. 2.5 gig LAN, your flash and your BIOS, etc. And then down at that USB-C, you've got a USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2. That means 10 gigs up, 10 gigs down. Below there are your Wi-Fi adapters and your audio ports. There we go. Nice. Now, for our processor, because we've got to make this thing run with something, we're going to be using an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D. Paul, talk to me. Why is this an important processor?
Yes, this is a pretty high-end processor from AMD. It's an 8-core, 16-thread processor with a base speed of 4.2, and it will boost up to 5.0. So a really solid gaming processor here. Like I said, this is the 3D version, so AMD's new technology has found a way to vertically stack the cache on top of the CPU die. So that gives us bigger surface area, which equates to more cache on the processor.
So, can I reach that same thing by putting silver dollars on top of my processor between that and my AO?
Of course.
The answer to that question is no. So what do you mean by cache? Oh my God. Yeah, and the other question is how many people know what a silver dollar is? So Paul, what do you mean by cache?
Yeah, so the cache is essentially memory that's on that CPU die. Now, typically on CPUs, it's a very small amount compared to the sizes that we're used to today. Like, we're talking megabytes, but it's very, very fast memory that the CPU communicates with and helps it run all its tasks.
Nice.
So more is better.
Now, speaking of more is better, we've got two giant tubes coming out of a weird circle-y thing that I'm pretty much is the pump for our AIO. So, Paul, what's an AIO? How does it work? Why is it important?
So an AIO stands for all-in-one. This is the liquid cooler right here that we're talking about. So this is a 360, which refers to the size of this radiator you can see right here. We've got three 120mm fans on there. And these are just great for cooling your processor and super easy to install. You see Zach's almost already done. I mean, it's a matter of seconds. Obviously, we've done this a lot, so you know we know what we're doing here. But typically, these AIOs are going to come with a few different bags of hardware with different CPU sockets on them. So you want to grab the one that matches your CPU socket on your motherboard and install the rest of the hardware.
Here we go. Alrighty. Get this all put in there. This is a really cool thing that Zach does. So Zach, why is it that you route your power cable like this?
So this hides the cable from view, and it also makes it to where we don't have to have the excess of the cable on the back side of our motherboard. Sometimes if we were to plug it in and have the excess just folded over, if another person goes to work on the build and they don't know that that's behind there, they might pull on it and it could cause some damage. So just like to leave everything on the top side of the board so that nothing can happen for future workings.
Nice. Derek Venable is over in the Facebook side. We've also got AL Tattoos. Welcome.
What's up, Derek?
Well, all my windows work like just normal. I have no idea in what reference that is, but potentially, possibly, perhaps. We've got...
What up, Deadshot?
Awan Dotre. Hello. Welcome in. You're from India? Well, that's fantastic. On the purple side, we've got One Gaming Creed, Lillardist. We've got a whole bunch of people over here. And then we've got Dusted Dragonfire in here with Sersky, Asian Venom. And hopefully, if I'm not mistaken, we've also got Deadshot in the house. Yeah.
What's up, Deadshot? Hooking up your graphics card will be pretty easy. So a little bit later on the show, when we get to that spot, we can spend a little bit more time today talking about that for you and how to install it.
Huh. Oh, my dear God.
Beautiful, beautiful. These sticks of RAM always look good. They're going to match the heat sinks on the board pretty nicely as well.
I can't see the kick chat because I opened the wrong window.
Whoops.
Yep. That's called DJ doing a dumb. But you know what's not dumb is our RAM. Let's talk about that. Now, to make it think faster and as fast as possible, we're going to be using two 32 gig sticks of Corsair DDR5 6000. Now, this is the fastest RAM that we carry presently, and they're both custom white, which is cool, but it's DDR5 6000. What does that mean?
Yeah, so DDR5 is the next generation of RAM. It's been out for a bit now, a couple months, so it's starting to become more of the mainstream memory. I still think DDR4 might be a little bit more popular right now, just because we've used it for so long. But as time goes by, DDR5 will completely replace it. So it's the next generation, which means it's very fast. 6,000 is the fastest speed we have right now. I'm sure as the months go by, we'll see some speeds higher than that, but this is just blazing fast memory.
Nice. There we go. Now I've got it. Damon Ascends over there on the kick side. We got Deadshot, Olmec, Nocira, Silver Starstorm. I like that. Garaga Boy. No, Garaga Doy. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what that means, but I feel like it's impressive. Okay. Now, up next, we got to have a way to put our operating system on. That is going to be a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro NVMe. And that's twice as large as the one that I have. I have a 1 terabyte 990 Pro. But this is great because it's an M.2. What does that mean?
Yeah, so M.2 is the form factor there of the drive, so it's that small little stick of gum you saw Zach just put in. 2 whole terabytes on there. Pretty awesome. NVMe is very fast. These Samsung 990 Pro drives are very fast as well. So eventually I'm going to upgrade to something 2 terabyte or more. I've got a couple 500 gigs in my system.
I'm about to put 500 gigs in my dog if he doesn't start barking.
Oh.
Reprogram. Here we go. Alrighty. Now we've got this whole big bad boy on. Next up, we've got our fans. Now the fans are going to be fun. These are 10 of our GameDS Aeolus M3s in black. If you remember the last build we made on the first part of the show on Thursday, you'll notice that the ring is brilliant, but it's subtle off of the black blades, and it's really great. It doesn't make it too loud, doesn't make it too bright. It makes it just perfect. Let's see. Randomly not predicted throughout the stream. Wait, oh yes, there is no rhyme to reason as to when we drop it. Okay, now we're getting all our fans. My God, dog. We're getting our fans plugged in. Obviously, we're going to be pushing air through this. Paul, why is that important?
Yeah, so with these AIOs, you can put fans on either side of them. Now, pushing air through them is the best way to cool them if you're just having them on one side. So what we mean by that is installing the fans in a way that air is coming in through this side, pushing it through the radiator, and then out the case or wherever you have it mounted. It just performs a little bit better than if you had them on the opposite side, which would be pulling air through. That being said, if you've got room in your budget and room in your case, you can add extra fans and put fans on both sides and put them in a push-pull method. We did that for DJ's PC. It's something that we don't do that often, though.
It's actually really cool, too. Super cool. It keeps my system so freaking cool. It's not even funny. Is it only Star Wars codes today? Well, I'll tell you what. So far, I have not seen them. Although at this point, I'm going to be honest. I may have missed one. Say out loud. But I have no idea. I slept all night long. I don't understand why I'm yawning. Maybe I should go actually invest in coffee. So just understand, if you see a code that starts with MTSM, RSI, or VPRL, that is for the Star Citizen giveaway. If you're seeing codes that are SWOL, like SWOL, or INTL, which is short for Intel minus all the vowels, that is going to be for the Star Wars giveaway, which ends tomorrow. So today's the last day to get codes for that. Okay. Now, I see your little nubbins down there. Yes, Ivory, just like that. Intel-ININ. In. Get your votes in. Get them in right now. Don't care if you're a Canadian. I don't care how. That's for Ivory. Just kidding. International D's. Intel D's and Swole Nuts. There you go.
Got him.
Okay. What are the biggest challenges when you're getting your motherboard in there while it's already attached to your AIO?
So really, with the IO already being on the board, these are really easy to put in. It's just one less step you have to do. Typically, if the IO shield isn't installed on the motherboard, you got to pop it in place, and it can be kind of a pain. It's not the worst, but then with your IO shield in, the antenna ports can kind of cause issues sometimes. You want to make sure everything's lined up. But yeah, when the IO shield's on the board, it's really easy to drop these in.
Yeah, agreed. Jason, you can't hear that, right? Checking. Yes. Okay, cool. Good. Just checking to make sure that my dogs are not going to lose their mind. We've been getting increased packages for some reason to the house because of all the stuff Kevin's preparing for his glass show. And the barking has been incessant. Kinda nuts. I'll tell you what's also nuts is the screws we're putting into this board. These are screws that go and mount your board to the well, you know what, Paul, I'll let you decide. You describe it.
Yeah, so Zach's putting in our motherboard mounting screws right now, and what those are doing is securing our board to the standoffs, which are installed in the case. You can see from this shot here, you can see the side of that PCB really well. It's like that yellowish orange line. You see how that's not touching the frame of the case, and that's because our motherboard is sitting on standoffs, which provide a safe place for the motherboard to be mounted. That way it's not touching bare metal and getting shorted out. So
yes. Yes, I like it. Sir British boy. I didn't try to say that, but welcome in. What's up, Jake? What's up, Jake R? How's it going? Don't forget to find out more about how you can get involved in an amazing community. Head over to discord.gg/CLXGaming. You can also follow us on socials. That's YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming, and find even more stuff. You never know where you might find the perfect code. Okay. Hey Kid asks, is this live? A while ago. Yes, it's live, obviously.
pre-recorded.
Bought a PC and I didn't have a power cord, so I got to use when it turns on, but it only takes a few seconds. Well, just because they have the same plug doesn't mean that the same capacity or ohm rating. Is it ohm rating? No, voltage rating.
All about that resistance.
As you know, I'm all about that bass, no treble. All about that bass, no treble. But okay, I thought I bought a PC and I didn't. Oh, yeah. If you get the wrong one, it's kind of terrifying. Wait, how much cash is on the processor? $100, Paul?
I don't have the exact specs of the cache up here with me, so maybe we can look that up. There is a difference between the X and the X3D, so you want to make sure you're looking at the right one there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we're getting our case put together. You can actually see the two doors that he pointed out earlier for the quick release base. And then down below there, we've got another hole, and that is going to be for our power supply. Don't know if you wanted to talk about that yet or not, but...
Might as well. Let's get this power supply out. We'll do it a little early.
All right. So for our power supply, we've got a Game-Based 1,000 watt Helios P280 Plus Gold. That's a little bit different than some of the things we've been hearing about lately. So why is it?
Yeah, so this is, like you said, 1,000 watt, 80 plus gold. This is the fully modular version. So let me get this out of the box. We should have just a brick in here for the power and then a bag of cables. So a lot of the companies will give you a nice little bag for the cables and then our brick here. So fully modular means none of the cables are pre-soldered in. So this is our power supply right here. We've got the end that plugs into the wall. This is where your power cable goes in and then goes to the wall. And then we've got all of our connections for our modular cables. So we rarely ever will fill this whole thing up. We'll just grab the cables that we need, put the rest in the accessory bag. That way if the customer needs them later, they can use them.
Awesome. Alrighty.
And you're not wrong, Deadshot. I walked into the studio today and was like, oh, and then I walked right back to my desk and got my jacket. The AC's pumping in here.
Right.
But yeah, it's supposed to be like 103 today. We did get that rain though. That rain
Ouch.
came through, so I don't know if that
rain
had
definitely helped.
an impact or not. It kind of came and went pretty quick, so we'll see.
Well, you know what they say in Portland, if you don't like the weather, just wait for 5 minutes and it'll change.
Yeah, that's definitely here as well.
Well, that's not what I wanted to have happen at all. Trying to fix things and I just break them more. This is neat. All right. Howdy, Sorcerer Von Croy. Now, there also managed to be an Intel-ININ code drop at some point. You definitely want to use that. You can set that up through the website. Okay. As we are building out, what's up next on the plan there, Paul?
So Zach's managing those hard drive bays right now, plugging in the SATA connections to the motherboard and then getting the SATA power ones ready for the power supply. So I'm going to take care of most of our case cables. So it'll be all these ones at the front too, powering our USB drive or our USB ports, power button, all that stuff. And then after that, we'll get into a little bit more of the fans. Since we do have 10 fans in this build, it is quite a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. It is 79 in your office right now. David of Skin, I'll be honest, I would quit my job. Hell no. Ain't nobody's gonna make me sit in 80 or other for that long. I'll get off of play and tie myself to into the luggage room before I let that happen. Richard Robbins, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. It is the Intel in and we can rock and boogie. Here we go. Okay, now we're getting the back end of this going. Zach, can you talk to them about what this cable manager is and how it's easier in this type of a case?
So, it does make it a lot easier by having everything organized out. This case has lots of different eyelets that we can attach our cables to. So we've got lots of possibilities for tying down all of our cables that we will be throwing into the build. But luckily we do have a modular power supply, so we will be only plugging in the cables that are needed.
Nice. I dig it. Sounds good. Got it. So it's the best. Okay, there we go. Yes, Ed Raven. Some people oftentimes post new and different links, which is great. Different codes. So, when it comes to this, it definitely makes it easier when it is a modular power supply because you don't have to worry about so many cables. Paul, what is that difference right there?
Yeah, so you'll see it a little bit later on once we get these in here. These are the cables that I'm separating out for the build. You can see I've got our 24 pin, 2 CPUs, and then our video card cable. So well, depending on how we want to do it here with these modular cables, you can plug them into the board without having your power supply installed, and then it makes running at the back end of your cable a lot easier. So there's some situations where you still plug them in and put the modular power supply in with the cables in the power supply, but it just kind of depends on the build.
Nice. Nice. My housemate's like, hey, by the way, I started the dogs on new food. Just be aware.
Uh-oh.
On a Tuesday?
Did you like mix
On
their old
purpose?
food with the new food a little bit, or just a hard switch?
I don't know what he did. I just know there was blueberries on top of it this morning.
Oh man.
I know. I'm wondering if that's why they're... Oh. I am going to ask if it is a quick moment. I'm just going to run upstairs because now I'm a little terrified.
Yeah.
Once I said it out loud, I realized, oh my God. So, Paul, because we have 10 fans going in here, why don't we talk a little bit about the airflow and how that assists in cooling when it comes to positive and negative pressure, and the best place to put your PC with vents. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go. My upstairs is not full of stuff.
Good luck.
Me too.
Alrighty, so we'll take this time to talk a little bit our case fans here. So we have 10 case fans in this build. We're using our GameBS Aeolus M3 fans. Like I said earlier, if you guys have seen the show, you've definitely seen us use these. If you're not a big fan of RGB, but you still want some lighting elements, these are the fans to go with. These don't have RGB in the fan blades. It's not super bright, but it will still...
Paul, I have to stop you.
Yeah.
SWOLSKYW.
Ooh, what is that?
I wouldn't know. All I know is just SWOLSKYW. Man, those are some crazy letters. Too.
Those are some crazy letters.
Sorry for that interruption.
All right, so anyways, these fans do not have the very bright RGBs. So like I said, if you like the subtle RGB elements, still want some elements, this is a good fan to go with. It's still going to come with a remote that's going to let you pick every color under the sun, whole different animations for them to do. But you can turn them off as well if you want. So with 10 fans in this system, we're going to have 6 intake fans and 4 exhaust fans. So we're going to have 3 intakes in the bottom of the case, and then we're going to have 3 in the side where Zach's working right now, and then we're going to have 3 exhaust in the top and 1 exhaust in the rear. So that's going to create a positive pressure in our system, which is what we're going for. The reason we want a positive pressure system instead of a negative pressure is because we want all that air going through the right filters. If you've got more air coming out of your case than you do coming in, it can create a vacuum inside your PC, and then it's going to suck in a bunch of dust and all sorts of other stuff you don't want through all the little cracks and crevices. So not the end of the world. I always say, it's not the end of the world if your system is set up under negative pressure. Your system's going to run fine. It's just going to get a little dirtier. So that's why we go that route. But yeah, so a lot of fans in this build. I feel like 10's a lot. It's becoming a little bit more popular though. But with these GameBS fans, they are obviously ran off a fan controller that we install, and each one of those fan controllers can hold 8 fans. So they actually come with a cable that you can daisy chain the controllers with. That way we can have 2 controllers and put 2 of these fans on the second one. Yeah, so right now we're just finishing up our case cables. So Zach's getting them all bundled up nicely. You can see him working in that middle channel there. That's where the cable management for this case is. And really all the other models of 011 kind of have that center channel for cable management. So with these front panel cables are USB cables, headphone, mic port that's on the front, power button, all those other lighting buttons as well. And no, I don't. Oh yeah, DJ mentioned that one a little bit earlier. Yep. So with us doing our cable management this way, you can see we really like to break it down into these parts, and this is just an easier way to cable manage your PC. So we don't even have all the fans installed in the system yet. We just got our motherboard in, and then we're routing our case cables. That way those will be completely done and out of the way, and then we'll move on to our fan cables, and then we can move on to our power supply cables after that. I really like doing it this way when I'm building, just because if you put everything in all at the same time, then you've got 100 cables hanging out. That can just be pretty overwhelming. So hopefully DJ didn't have a huge mess to clean up.
There's an importance in listening to the sounds and environments around you, especially when it comes to animals trying to warn you that hell is coming.
Yeah.
They have now been sequestered into the kitchen because I can't trust them to not bark while they're outside. And there's a very real chance that I had to turn off the Roomba.
Nice.
So with that being said, hello! How are we all? Good Lord. Sorry about that break. What I do want to point out is the absolute amazing themology on this motherboard. I love the colors. You've got that bright blue. You've got the white versus the black. It's going to be a really good juxtaposition of colors, and it's going to look great. Also, as you can see there on the angle of the case, we've got a 3/4 or what's considered a 3/4 or two-thirds case. So the motherboard doesn't sit directly on the back. Paul, does that have any kind of effect on the airflow and the cooling capacity?
Yeah, so it does a little bit. I feel like these designs are mostly for aesthetics overall, but there is some elements of better airflow. And where that is this back area right here that you guys are seeing. Obviously, we've mentioned these hard drive bays and then our power supply below it. Those being separated off, they do generate a little bit of heat. Now, there's no extra drives in this build, so nothing's going to be in there, but our power supply will be down here. And it's going to bring air in from this side where I'm at right now and shoot it out the back. So none of that air is going to, or none of that heat from that power supply is going to be in the main body of the case. All these components being sectioned off is going to provide smooth airflow in and out of that case.
And I can verify wholeheartedly that that is absolutely accurate. My machine absolutely does an incredible job of that. We did see a question coming over here from Derek saying, did your PC ever make your room hot? Yes, constantly. Now, not constantly like, oh, that's bad, but I'm also someone who cranks their graphics up because, well, I've got a beast.
Gotta crank it.
And, yeah, so just screw it. Like when I'm doing, especially if I'm doing like Assassin's Creed or I'm playing something like Dying Light 2 or even Rainbow Six Siege, she gets a little hot. But again, I have an AC unit and a fan to kind of help migrate the flow of air. But the heat that I get is coming out of it. But there is also 9 fans pushing air into it. So it's like, okay, there we go. And sorry about that. Thank you for your patience, everybody. That was a moment. Okay, now we've got all 3 of our fans there, and these are going to go on where, Zach?
This is the bottom tray, so this will be intaking air off of the floor. But luckily, there is a really nice, super nifty way of getting it cleaned. If I can figure this out real quick.
Ooh.
Just get that up on.
Come on. Yeah.
I do have a question coming in from, I don't know if you guys already did this over on TikTok, but Balak9K says, I bought a PC and it didn't have a power cord, so I got one and it turns on, but only for a few seconds. Paul?
So where did you get the power cord from would be the first question, but like you mentioned earlier, DJ, it could be a different rated cable or something like that. Like, does the PC stay on?
Yeah, excellent questions. The other excellent question would be, hey, what do you think is going to happen when I leave because my dogs might be doing something horrifically destructive in my upstairs?
Maybe.
I'll tell you what happens. Ivory takes the opportunity and decides to get real butch and swole. It's SWOL-SKYW. That is Sierra Kilo Yellow Whiskey. So, Yankee Whiskey. There we go. It is Sky W. That is what that source code is because he likes to see if I pay attention and scroll back. And then, of course, we had one more come out that is, and this is for, so that first one was for the Star Wars. This one is now for the Star Citizen giveaway, and that is MTSM-KB67. That's Kilo Bravo 67. Over here on the purple side, do you have any port extension recommendations? I've run out of room for all my stuff. That's a great question. I have a follow-up to that once he answers that. So, Paul?
I do not. Unfortunately. Sorry, Queso. Can't give you a good recommendation on that.
Now, I have a question when it comes to that because I didn't understand data bandwidth or data, like when you look at PCIe channels or USB channels, how do you determine how much throughput all of those can use if they're all in use?
So I haven't dealt with that in a while, but I did have a old X99 build, which if anybody remembers that, was a i7 5820K that I eventually upgraded to a 5930K. And I upgraded because I was adding a bunch of extra M.2 drives in my build, and I ran out of PCIe lanes, which I didn't even know was a thing back then. I mean, I knew they existed, but I didn't know they could be limited. So it can be board, it can be CPU, all the stuff's got to have the right capabilities for it to all work.
What do you mean by PCIe lanes?
Yeah, so those are lanes that your board and all the components on your board are using to communicate with everything else, your processor. So typically processors have a limited amount of PCIe lanes they can communicate with. So if you've got every slot on your board filled up and a bunch of extra drives, if you have a processor that can't have all those, some of them just aren't going to show up. Now, I don't know how much of a deal that is nowadays. I'm sure more and more PCIe lanes have been added. Like I said, I haven't dealt with it in years, honestly. I just haven't ran into an issue where I ran out of them. So
yeah, I think on lower end boards, or maybe I don't know, because I've had that struggle with my current streaming PC because it is old. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I did do was I got a USB, because I only have one USB 3.2 port on this motherboard, or maybe two. But the one that I have, I used to plug it into a high-speed dock. But I can only have, I can only get away with like 3 things plugged into it before performance starts to degrade. And one of the things that's plugged into there is one of my cameras. And so, like, if I plug anything else into that camera starts, it's a little bit funky. Dimensional Shadow says, thank you so much for using NATO spelling, by the way. Absolutely welcome. Paul is I believe Air Force. I am ex-Navy. So we've got a whole crew of people who understand it. Periodically, my brain goes sideways. And yeah. Let's see. My PC makes no heat, says Derek. Eric's room is hot from his PC. I believe we overclocked his a little. Well, listen. So, everybody, Derek and his son Eric have PCs from us. By the way, I still think that's hilarious. With that, you guys did that as the naming. That's fantastically beautiful. But so, how much can overclocking affect the heat output that your cooling system ends up ejecting from the case?
Yeah, so overclocking your CPU is definitely going to cause it to run hotter, which means that he's going to go through your radiator, 'cause I'm assuming it's going to be on AIO, and then taken out of your case by the fans. So it can increase that heat quite a bit depending on the overclock. That being said, a lot of processors now won't cook themselves, or they shouldn't cook themselves, we should say. It's not something I would limit test, but if it gets too hot, it should shut off. There's a lot of thermal throttling built in, so yeah.
Other little things you can do that I had to do with my old gaming PC, because it was a 120 push-pull on an i9 9900K. And I mean, that is not even remotely enough airflow whatsoever in any day of the week. I ended up I had a fan that a clip-on, just a little office clip-on fan that blew into it to help with cooling it down. But yeah, unless it gives you an alarm, PCs are hot, and your PCs look hot and sexy. There we go. Gauge Raiders in the house, back over on the green side. Hello. So while we've been doing this, what did I miss? We've taken a look at our power supply. Did we talk about the different kinds of power supplies yet?
Yes, we have.
Cool. Well, then I would love to ask you a bigger question, because I believe we're going to be using one of the largest and most powerful graphics cards ever made to this point, and that is the GeForce RTX 4090. Yes, that's an MSI build. Now, this is a Venturis 3, so it's a 3-fan 4090. I don't think they make a 2-fan 4090 unless it's water-cooled. Right?
A 2-fan 4090? Yeah, the Founders one is a 2-fan. It is a little different, but yep, it does have 2 fans.
But it's still the size of a 3-fan.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It might not be as long, but it's definitely weighs just as much, if not more. So,
over on the TikTok side, Jonathan Avila asks, is an i5 9400F and a 4068 gig a good matchup?
So it's not a bad matchup. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's good. The 4060 is fine. That processor's getting a little old now. Depending on what you're playing, though, it might be good. If you're not playing, brand new games at 2K and wanting high refresh rates, then I'm sure it would be fine. So, but that definitely is getting older. I'd upgrade that CPU. The 4060 is solid, but upgrade that CPU if you can. But unfortunately, you're probably going to have to upgrade your motherboard, and then maybe you have to upgrade your RAM, so can be a kind of a thing.
It is definitely a thing. And don't forget, if you're finding that there's just too many things to upgrade, you can always head right on over to clxgaming.com. I'm just saying, it's a good place to shop. Okay. Now let's take a look at this big boy, because this is got 24 gigs of video RAM built into it, which makes this a exceedingly powerful card. And I dig it. But the one thing that's always kind of funky about cards of this size, and that goes for AMD or NVIDIA, is the weight. So once Paul gets this out of the package, and we get a little plastic ASMR. There we go.
Get this box out of the way, and I'll really get into it.
Right. So let's talk about how this card feels in your hands. How heavy is this thing? Because there's a lot that goes into the 4090s. A lot that's in a 4090s.
All right. So yeah, this is definitely a heavier card. It being a 4090, as it should be, and most of that weight is obviously in the cooler. So down here you can see the heat pipes coming in, so there's a lot of metal, which adds most of the weight to it. Got a decent backplate on it, 3 fans. So yeah, really solid card here. We'll go ahead and start getting the plastic off. For our video outputs on this, we have 2 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI.
I was surprised when I saw the USB-C on mine.
Yeah. So that's starting to be
VR capability.
There you go.
Oh no, it's not a USB-C. I have two HDMIs and 3 DisplayPorts, which I thought that's the first time I've ever seen that on a card, and that's just the 3090 OC. But
yeah, a lot of
is there a prioritization differential when it comes to whether or not you want to be using your DisplayPort versus your HDMIs?
Yeah, so you always want to be using DisplayPort if you can. DisplayPort's just a better port. I believe you have to use DisplayPort if you want to be in 2K or above, or that might be a frame rate. It's been so long since I switched over. I don't remember exactly, but DisplayPort is the superior port there. That being said, HDMI obviously works on a lot of stuff. Like my wife's PC, we just hooked it up again this weekend, and I needed HDMI instead of DisplayPort.
What's she playing? What's she playing?
Old school RuneScape.
Yeah!
She was like huge into it back in the day. Like she got in.
Level 99.
She's not a gamer at all. Like at all. Didn't grow up doing any of it. But she got hooked on old school RuneScape a while back. Did all the quests and stuff. So we started playing it again. So yep, it was some old school RuneScape, and then I caved and downloaded PoE on Saturday, and then had played a ridiculous amount of PoE. So, yeah.
So, then I have a secondary weird question, because especially if you're doing if you're gaming on a dual PC system, is it advisable to go from DisplayPort to have a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, so at least you're able to get that initial bandwidth, or is the HDMI on the other end make that having a DisplayPort completely irrelevant? Because so far, to my knowledge, there isn't really a capture card system, especially a PCIe capture card, that utilizes DisplayPort instead of HDMI.
Yeah, so if you had like an adapter, there are cables that have DP on one end and HDMI on the other. It's going to function at that HDMI speeds.
Got it. Well, and now with HDMI 2.1, that does give you a little bit of leeway. I know that I can functionally push at 1440p 144 through my HDMI, but I would not trust it to go higher than that. Deadshot asks, why did my... Oh, this is a good question. So, Deadshot, I'm going to answer this. I'm going to get this next question out before I ask yours. So, Paul, when it comes to cards of this size and this weight, how do we manage that, and why would we use an anti-sag device?
Yeah, so we need to use an anti-sag device on these larger cards so that it doesn't cause damage to our board or the card itself. So from this shot here, you can see on the right side, there's kind of that vertical metal piece with a bunch of holes in it. That is the base for our anti-sag bracket. So our card's going to go in there, and then we have a little adjuster arm that we go on there. That way we can support the card properly, and that gives us a lot of adjustment as well for all the different types of cards. So
now, Deadshot has a good question. Deadshot 91. By the way, we got to build Deadshot system live on Thursday. No, Tuesday. No, Thursday. Today is Tuesday. And he says, why did my graphics card not come hooked up? Just wondering.
yeah, so
There's a really good answer for this.
So some of these cards, like this build right here, are so big we don't feel super comfortable with shipping them. We've seen a lot of issues shipping them installed, even with an anti-sag bracket. So on these larger cards, depending on the case too, sometimes the case is a really nice anti-sag bracket that we can ship it in. But a lot of the times we'll ship the card back out uninstalled. That way it doesn't cause any shipping damage.
Are there... So my question is, Deadshot, do you have any questions about installing it? You got the 4080 Super Founders Edition. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
And that is, if I'm not mistaken, a pretty larger card. If you have any questions with regards to installing that, please give a call to our customer service and technical support. We can walk you right through the process. Easy peasy, no worries. But everything should be in place, if I'm not mistaken, so that it's a quick and easy, just pop it in, plug it in, there you go. I asked Paul earlier, he said he would show me. Yay! Awesome.
Yeah, you'll get a live tech support right here. So if you're ready, we're not at the point where we're installing our video card yet, but we are getting there. Probably a few more minutes.
Cool.
So it'll be.
So we can use today's show as an example.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay then. So then that gives you a chance, Deadshot, to pull. Yeah, it is the same case. Just get your setup ready with the top off so that you can actually see it and you have your card in hand, because this will be an easy way for you to just try and we can live talk you through the process. My housemate just messaged me. He's like, hey, sorry for not telling you earlier. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. So let's see here. Raven is septic. Annie is septic. Wow, I said septic. I'm a terrible person. Any more codes since the first Swole code? I think there's been a couple in here. Oh my lord, I'm not saying that, Gagerator, but you're not wrong. Gagerator, that's a crappy joke.
But
Yep, terrible. All right, Blue Feb did bring back the other two codes that have been out here today. Just ordered a 4090 pre-built. Can't wait till it comes in. Colts with the order. I'm assuming you got that from us, right?
Very nice.
Because that's fantastic. I'm excited. That's going to be great. So, and don't forget, if you get a PC or have a PC from us, we have a whole section in the Discord for you to share your images with us for your setup, so we can see the PC and how it looks. We love it. It's always fun. Now, one of the nice things about this is watching Zach get together his cable management. It's always a process. So when it comes to, if you're building your own system, when it comes to cable management, Zach, what are some great tips for those people building their own so that they, can avoid certain problems?
So yeah, like what Paul was saying earlier, how we just divide everything out into doing like the case cables, then the power cables, then the fan cables. That really helps to just kind of keep everything organized. You're not taking off a big bite of steak, or you're having one slice of bacon and you're enjoying it and you're savoring it before you. I apologize if anybody doesn't like bacon, but it's like I feel like that's more on you than.
True.
Right. Listen, I loved it when my sister said, I'm not eating bacon anymore because I want to live 5 years longer. I said, Congratulations. You're going to have 5 years longer of misery because I have no problem
Eating that bacon.
bopping out while happy. If I die eating bacon, fine. You're not American if you don't like bacon. Now, some people can't do bacon. Some people don't are vegetarians or vegans or pescatarians, which I respect. You know what that means? If you are vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, or what was the fourth one? Either way, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to eat more bacon. You don't eat it? I will. All right, what's next, gentlemen?
All right, so Deadshot, this is the part where we are going to be installing the video card. So we'll kind of take our time through this. If we can go back to, yes, perfect, Jason. So just want to show you this shot real quick to show you how we are oriented. So we've got our PC laid down on our back side. Zach's at the back where our I/O shield for our motherboard and all of our ports are. So this is a good way to start. We've got our side panel off. You might have to pull off a couple panels, but really this side panel is the most important one that you need to take off. You might take off the front just to give you a little bit more working room, but now we'll go ahead and show you. Now, before we put this in, we prepared this area right here, which your case should have already had removed since we did build your system and obviously test it with the card in there. So those slots are, you know, what you want to look at while we're installing this. We're going right here with the card. So you can see there's a little notch right here. There's a lever. You want to make sure that lever is pushed down. You don't have to give it a lot of force, just a little bit. And then you can slowly install your card. So there's little metal tabs at the bottom right here, and so those are going to go not on your motherboard, they're actually going to go into your case. You can see Zach doing that. So we're looking at this bottom area and this slot right here where our card's going to go in. So just slowly get it in there, and when you push down we should hear a click. Sometimes you won't always hear the click, sometimes it's just like that. So now our card is in. First thing we're going to do is put these screws in the back that we showed right there, and then we'll move on to the anti-sag, or if you don't have an anti-sag, we'll just plug the cable in. So
Okay, so Deadshot, just to make sure, how are you in the process? Did you get it clicked in? You got it? Nice, dog.
Perfect.
Nice, okay.
all right, so with your build
Star
next,
Prison.
there's going to be the power cables. Now we obviously don't have our power cable ran for the system yet since we're building it from the ground up, but you should have some power cables coming around the bottom of your case just kind of hanging out, and those will go in. Now there's going to be a tab on them. I believe you have this same connector that I've got here in my hand. I'll show it on the overhead. So you'll see, you know, one side has this connector. Just make sure that's going in, and this is your tab that will go into a notch right here. So you should hear that click in, and then you're good to go.
Nice. So
And Raven.
let's make sure that you've got the. Okay, so you've
Yeah,
got,
your
you
drivers
got
should
the power
already
cord
be
in.
installed and everything. So, you know, once this is in and on, you should be good to go.
So the next question I have is, so once he gets the power, because obviously the power cable's already there for him. He's got it clicked in, it's mounted. So how is the anti-sag already in place, or does he need to place that on the bar?
It should already be in place. Your card should be resting on it now.
Perfect.
Obviously, if it's not, just shoot us a question. And if we can even, you know, if you need more assistance after this, just reach out to us on Discord. Yes, it is. Okay, great. Yeah, we obviously, we would prefer to ship the cards in the system, but with them being just so big now, it's just not worth the risk of you getting your machine finally and it being busted, and then we gotta, you know, get it back and fix it and that whole thing. So, but we try to have it as set up as possible, make it as easy for you to install. So,
Question coming in from TTV Artemis. I swear to goodness, I think I know who you are, Artemis. Hi. If not, it may be because I love Ready Player One. It says, I'm ordering my PC the 9th. I can't wait. How do I watch them build my PC?
Ooh, awesome, Artemis.
Oh.
So definitely reach out to Ivory in chat, and when you do order your PC, there'll be an order confirmation process just to make sure you're not a robot, and you can mention it to whoever calls you there on that. we can't guarantee that we will build it on stream, but as long as we've got a slot in the show for it, we will do our best to get to it.
Rad. And Deadshot says, I'm going to get you all a picture in Discord. Heck yeah.
Ooh, that'd be
I'm
awesome,
so excited.
Deadshot.
I'm so excited. So yeah, it's always interesting because, you know, when you think about it from a logistics standpoint, what we don't want to do is prevent someone from getting their PC as quickly as possible. But at the same time, we also recognize that sometimes it's cool to just watch it happen. So again, yeah, just reach out and if possible, who knows?
Yeah, and we'll talk to you once you get it ordered. You can you can post in the Discord as well and just ask for me or Ivory, and we can figure out the scheduling of that. And if it is something you're okay with waiting on, and we'll see how that goes. We kind of let you decide. We'll let you know if there's availability, and then kind of let you decide. So.
And of course, in the CLX Discord, Paul is P-Steph. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually say that. Yes. I probably should have asked before I put that in there.
No, it's all good. Yeah. P-Steph's typically my gamer tag on everything. That's me on Twitch as well.
Deadshot mentions, y'all was amazing to be able to get mine live. And I appreciate you, by the way, coming around streams and saying hello. Your community on Kick loved watching it. Heck yes. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, we're happy to do
awesome to hear. So sorry, Dimensional Shadow, I think I missed your question up here. I apologize. Here we go. Dimensional Shadow over on the purple side says, in the wake of the upcoming new NVIDIA GPU generation, how do you handle your remaining stock when the lineup was modernized?
That is a great question, Dimensional. So that is the challenge. And it's not just with video cards. It's with motherboards. It's with processors. Pretty soon it's going to be with DDR4 RAM when that starts phasing out. So really it's a big balance because we obviously want to fulfill our orders, but you don't want to have too much stock to where you're sitting on, you know, a pallet of old video cards. So it's really just all of our experience as far as, you know, forecasting, kind of what we've dealt with in the past, where we've gone wrong, learning from those mistakes and figuring out. It's just a big inventory problem to tackle. So we try to not end up with a whole bunch of extra graphics cards that are aging that, you know, can't really sell, all that. But you know, it's a learning experience each way. So there's no specific thing I can point to. It's just try to not buy pallets and pallets of cards if they're about to phase out.
Yeah.
And obviously you know, you can run sales and stuff like that too. But yep, it is a challenge for sure.
I'm definitely scrolling up through to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Over on the green side is, well, Deadshot says it loved the crate, the delivery crate.
Oh yeah.
And that, for anybody who wonders, this is basically what it is. It is a giant, what we call the sarcophagus, and it is a giant wooden crate. It makes a perfect PC stand for you on stream, which is why I use it. I didn't even paint it or anything. I was like, nope, I like it just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just a really cool wooden crate. Makes
Raven Sepik.
Oh, sorry, DJ, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Raven Sepik 39 mentioned also at CLX Gaming. I just realized where I heard the name CLX. One of my friends has a PC he bought from y'all manufactured.
Oh, awesome!
Nice. That's even better. That's great.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that Raven mentioned was don't forget to install drivers after you have everything set up. How much of that's already been done?
All of that is done. So yeah, you should just be able to turn your computer on and it will be good to go. Your computer's already been through the testing process, the stress testing, all that with the card installed. So once that's all done and the machine's all prepped, that's when we power it down, and then if we're shipping the card without the video card, we just take the card out. So you should be able to put the card in and you're good to go. Now there might have been an update from when we shipped your computer to when you got it. So, you know, there might be a small Windows update or, you know, a new driver that came out, but, you know, that's, if it is, it's going to be a really small one, so.
Muffin coming in with that Prime sub. Let's go. One thing, yeah. So that shows I didn't even think about using the stand as a setup. Like if you're sitting while you're gaming, it's a perfect height for it. It's great. Plus, you don't really want to ever get rid of that because in the event that you need to move or take it somewhere, it's easy to just pack it back up, plug it back in, Do your thing.
And I'll say this let me add to that real quick, DJ.
Yeah.
So with that crate, what's nice with that is obviously, inside that crate is the box that this is in with all the foam and everything. What's cool about the crate is you can just throw all that foam, even your accessory bag if you want it, back in that box, put it back in your crate, and then nobody knows it's there. The crate looks good and you don't have like an empty cardboard box that you want to hold on to. So, if you keep all that shipping stuff, it's always good to have that.
You know why I keep my shipping foam? Sorry. Because I'm going to take my systems to DreamHack because they have a bring your own computer system.
There you go.
I take my system to LAN parties because they're the coolest parties of all of the parties.
I didn't even think about that. That actually makes great sense. My latest dilemma has been being asked to DJ at a gig that's not anywhere in Portland, that is in San Diego, and whether or not I'm going to rent equipment or try and take my own gear again. And if I do take my own gear, I am buying a seat next to me on the plane and strapping it to the damn chair.
There you go.
That way they don't get to drop it on the tarmac. Yes. Shasto's just like, don't. Just don't. It cost you a lot of money last time. Just stop. Stop it. That's great. So Bilco, 120 FPS. I like that 120 FPS. So do these giveaways go out to Canada? And to my knowledge, they both should, because the Intel CLX Star Wars one is for North America. The other one is a world-based, depending on the rules and laws of your country. So, yes. Shasta, how you doing? Good to have you in here. Aaron Ramos over on TikTok. Hello. Harley Smith has a great question. Hey, I'm looking to build a computer for about $4,000 to $5,000 and have 4 monitors. What do you recommend?
Wow, so that's... go ahead, DJ.
Oh, before you jump on that, can we ask one clarifying question?
What's it gonna
Are you going to be using this for streaming or gaming? Or both? Paul?
Yeah, so with a budget that high, you're going to be able to build a powerhouse that can do everything, streaming, gaming, whatever you want, and it'll look great. So the only thing to keep in mind, if you've got those 4 monitors, you want to look at the outputs of those that are going to be going into your PC. So if they're all 4 DisplayPort, you want to make sure you get a card that's got enough of those outputs to handle that. Now I'm going to guess with 4 monitors, a couple of those might be HDMI. So most cards are going to have 3 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI, but there are some variation. Like this card has 2 DisplayPort and 2 HDMI. So with your budget, build a powerhouse, go crazy on the CPU and GPU, get you at least 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte NVMe drive, and you're going to have plenty of room in your budget for everything else that you want. But just things to keep in mind of that video outputs, make sure those are right. And if you don't see those correct, if you're ordering a PC through us, just reach out to us on support. We've probably got something that will fit it.
And on top of that, if other than just getting a computer, you can get a sweet chair.
True.
You can get a sweet headset and mic.
Yeah.
You can get some pretty cool, do we have controller? What control?
We've got all sorts of them. We got wired, wireless Xbox control. We got we do have the controllers to control those submarines that go down. We've got some of those.
Submarines.
So yeah, we've got all sorts of them.
Fat Doc 8 says, who's farming the Star Citizen referrals? All of us. All of us. There we go. Showing back over here to the green side. Driftwood says I just drive. That's not far. I would too if A, I hadn't forgot that my license expired on my birthday in December, and B, that I had a car. Without those two things, it's a little more difficult. And to be fair,
you can Uber.
Given the from Portland to San Diego,
Why not?
How much do you think I make on this show?
Enough for an Uber.
Oh my gosh!
Uber
Here we go.
Lyft,
Rent a plane.
Is that yours about 4,600?
Buy a really big drone.
Jeez, that's actually a great idea. Ivory pulls up over in the green side, says, chat, I have Alt-Tab for my grinding to present to you RSI SQ34. This is for the Star Citizen build with the chair, the controllers, the grips, the pedals, and that is going to be RSI. That is Robert Space Industry. Also Romeo Sierra Indigo Dash Sierra Quebec 34. That is SQ34. Some quality. 34. I'm clicking the cookie so hard right now, I don't even know what that means. Nosira, do you guys play Destiny? I used to play a lot of Destiny, and then just got tired. It stopped becoming something that I was interested in. Don't get me wrong, I'm super fascinated by how they're going to close the story out, but I just can't justify pushing any more money into something that for me, is wash, rinse, repeat. So
Nathan Fillion's back.
but it is a great game.
Nathan Fillion's back.
Right? I know. I'm super jazzed about that. But I also watched The Rookie, and I've been a huge fan of Castle forever. Plus, I came from Halo,
Firefly.
so obviously I know that guys. Trains in the U.S., except for the East, kind of suck. Yes.
True.
Take the Amtrak, or however your train company's actual lead, Shadow. That is...
I want some bullet trains here. That would be sick. We've got a train station in like a
Actually,
little
that
town
would-
north of us. And it's like, oh, that'd be kind of fun. And then you look it up and you're like, why is it like 20 extra hours instead of driving? Like, this is wild.
Right? Because I could bring my own dolly. That's... Okay, Dimensional Shadow, you may be onto something there, bud.
You could do that, and then you could have a hotspot on your phone, and then you can game the entire way there.
You stream your train ride. That'd be cool.
Well, the thing is, the trains run where there's just basically zero coverage. I know because I've done a lot of train trips. Like in 16, 17, Halo brought me down to the World Championships. The last event there was ESL, and that was in North Hollywood. And so I rode the Amtrak down, and I had my games case with me, right? This is back in the Xbox One X days. And so that's the little case that you flip up, and it's got the Xbox, and the screen is built in, and you got your controller and your power cords. I sat on that train and played games for ever. And the best part was, because when kids started getting annoying and I was up in the lounge car, they would come up and I had multiple controllers. So we ended up getting on and playing some group offline couch co-op games, which was really hilariously fun. But yeah, so you have a very good point. The train might be the better option financially, possibly, potentially, perhaps. But I will say what is a great option is looking at what is right there. Zach, real fast, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it. Tell me what is that and how that works and why it's important.
These are our fan hubs, and this is two hubs taped together. The way I like to run it is this back fan is fan 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have 10 fans, and I like plugging them in that order. That allows me to, if we have a fan that's spinning and not glowing, or glowing and not spinning, we can easily troubleshoot it by finding it pretty quickly on our nice little fan hub. So this just controls all of the fans. Different fans will use different hubs, and that, I can make that look prettier. There we go.
All right, before we head over to the website, I do have a couple things. First of all, I've said not since the accident, and that's when Destiny became Fate. So I want a cookie. Graduator asks, how long do you think DDR4 RAM and a 3070 will be relevant in the gaming world?
You still got a couple years with that. I'm still rocking a 2080 Super and DDR4, and just this last weekend playing PoE, I started noticing like, my performance is dipping a little bit. So yeah, 3070, DDR4 is going to be around for a bit. You got at least a couple years with that 3070 though, depending on what you're trying to play, obviously.
And of course, Silver Star Storm mentioned not just, looking to win, but it's hard to win because there's over 6 million entries. It's incredible. So just remember, it only takes one entry to win, and we've had some people who've done that. So before we jump into the final stages of looking at what's on this incredible PC, let's jump over and show everybody who's not quite aware how you can get your hands on an amazing PC from CLX Gaming. At CLXgaming.com, we try to make it as easy and simple as possible for you to get the PC of your dreams, and one that's going to not just do everything you need, but it's also going to do everything you want. You can choose between multiple different size cases, whether you're going for a full size or a little ITX. We've got a little bit of everything. We carry NVIDIA, we carry Radeon, we carry Intel, we carry AMD. You've got multiple opportunities and options for RAM, motherboards. You can go high end, you can go baseline. It's all right there. The best part about this is you get to choose whether it is RAM or otherwise. Now, A lot of people were like, hey, what happens if I screw it up and ask for the wrong stuff? Is it going to break or blow up? No. That's why that little button up there, the little green one, turned to yellow. It says solve conflict. So, for example, if you've got a 4090, right? You've selected a 4090 as your card, but you don't have a large enough power supply, the system's going to be like, stop. We got to get a different power supply, so we've got enough for the system, and it's going to say, look, if you want just the power supply you've got, you can choose from one of these graphics cards which will fit, or you can choose one of these power supplies that'll power everything that you've got there. Once you solve the problem, then that little yellow button turns back to green, and guess what? You get to move on with your process. Now, there's lots of different options for when you get your system. You can actually choose to have it upgraded for like overclocked with the GPU, overclocked with the CPU. You can even get them both done. You can ask for extra or upgraded thermal paste. We have open loop systems, which I'll explain in just a minute. We have closed loop systems. All of the options are there, everything from cooling to you name it. Plus, we've got streaming gear. So for anybody who's looking to become a content creator or who already is, we've got capture cards, we've got Beacon Mix Creates, Beacon Mics, and then we have our accessories area, which is fantastic because literally everything you could ever want for a PC peripheral is all right there. You want a cool t-shirt? You want a windbreaker like Paul's wearing? We've got those. You need a keyboard, you need a mouse, you need a headset, speakers, monitors, I almost said toaster again. That's not a thing. Chairs, routers. We've got everything you could think of. And it's all in one spot. But wait, there's more. In the event that you find that that's just a little bit too much engagement for you, we have the RTS section, which stands for Ready to Ship. Ready to Ship comes out in multiple different levels. We've got we've got the beginnings, we've got mid-level, high, ultra high performance. All of them are great, and it's a good opportunity for you to take a look at and see what qualifies in those areas, and also take a look at some of the performance metrics for those PCs at that time. So these are already tested, already boxed up and ready for a home, and who knows, that home might be yours. So for all of your future PC and gaming needs, head on over to clxgaming.com. See how we can set you up for success. All right, so we've got a PC to test and put on. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see it. This is for Dennis in Georgia. Cover everything that's in here. Let's go. Okay, that is so subtle. I love it. And honestly, I'm falling in love with these fans because of the way that they look. They're not super ultra in your face, but they've got that nice ring. You see it, the colors there. That's fantastic. I absolutely love it. So once again, let's go over what's in this PC for Dennis in Georgia. This is a CLX Raw 011XL Black with an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D processor mounted on an MSI X670E Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. It has two 32 gig sticks for 64 gigs of DDR5 6000 RAM, and of course that ultra powerful NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 graphics card. The operating system is going to be installed on a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro NVMe M.2. Your CPU will be cooled by a CLX Quench 360 in black, plus 10 GameDius Aeolus M3 fans in black, and our GameDius 1000 watt P2 80 plus gold Helios power supply unit. There we go. Awesome. I love it. Now, you know what else is awesome? This show, as usual, is going to happen in two parts. In just a few minutes, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're going to get to spend the afternoon with Zach. And Zach, who knows what he might drop, including codes. But he's going to build some really amazing things. Now, this show happens every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 2 Eastern. We are on all the platforms, but for those of you looking for the codes on Tuesdays are dropped on the green side. That is kick.com/CLXgaming. On Thursdays, it's the purple side. That's twitch.tv/CLXgamingTV. You can also find codes while also keeping up with the latest and greatest in all things that is CLX Gaming, and that is on our socials at YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at CLX Gaming. You can also possibly find things in an incredible Discord full of like-minded gaming enthusiasts and gamers, and that is discord.gg/CLS Gaming. The other place you can find them is on my stream, and I will be giving out the last of my Star Wars codes today when I figure out what the heck I'm going to play. But that being said, we are going to be taking a break in just a moment. So on behalf of on behalf of Jason and Kyle in production, Paul and Zach, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Later, Gators.
He's gonna play the Old Republic. What is up, Scooby Gang? I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I hope you are excited and ready for a fun week. We've got some pretty fun stuff going on. Ah! Ha! Alrighty. So we're going to be working in another black 011 today. I did what I could to get some diversity among these orders. I like to try and mix it up a lot for you guys so that you can see and ask all of the questions that you can. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and type them out so I can read them, and I'll do my best to answer them. I've got Twitch, I've got Kick. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you are doing well. Anybody have any fun activities they did over the weekend? It's kind of a little bit hot here. We went and walked around the mall. Went and watched Inside Out 2. It's a very good movie if you've not watched it yet. Alright. Easy peasy. There we go. I'll drop that. Bam. The Deadpool Wolverine movie. That one does look pretty funny. I am kind of entertained to see what it's about. Okay. We have another MSI X670E gaming motherboard. This is a super pretty looking motherboard. I really enjoy the teal they got going on. I wish Cable Mod made a cable color that matched that. That would be a pretty good combination for getting a cable kit. Okay. There we go. Okay. I know. Ask me anything. You know, it's one of those AMAs. Ask me whatever you have question-wise about computers. I will answer them the best I can. Okay, this is an AMD Ryzen 78 X3D. It's a pretty nice processor. All processors, Intel and AMDs, come to us with a key on them. This one's being in the top left-hand corner, so it can only go installed into our chipset one direction. We do not live in the multiverse. Yes, we do theorize about this a lot back there in the customs department. All of the different multiverses around and out there. One of the multiverse, you can plug anything into anything. You can stick an Intel chip into an AMD processor, and it works. But sadly, that is not the verse that we live in. So we must abide by our rules set forth by Mr. Gates and Mr. Jobs for the work that they have laid out from their studies of Sir Isaac Newton. I got into building PCs in 2011. That was when I built my first one solo. My uncle used to work for NCR back in the day, building a bunch of computers, and he is a pretty knowledgeable gentleman, and he built my first system way back in the day out of his old spare parts. So I've been on a computer for a while, It's really just how much I actually tinker with them. I am more of a builder. I don't have a tech brain. I have a visuals brain, so I can't really see the ones and zeros like I can see other things. So I usually let my uncle take care of all that stuff. But I had started my journey solo in 2011, back when Battlefield 3 was coming out. Battlefield 3, that was my jam. I liked big player games. I liked the 64-man servers. I liked shooting from a map distance away. That made it a lot more entertaining and a lot more fun. Okay. So we got our processor installed. Our next step will be installing our liquid cooler kit. This one is an Aztec. There are a bunch of companies out there. Ones that we carry in-house would be like Lindley, Fantex, Corsair, but there are like NZXTs and a whole bunch of other companies out there. Be Quiet, Noctua, there's heat sinks, all-in-one liquid coolers, and then open loops. So a whole bunch of different genres to cool your system. Really just depends how much you're wanting to get into it. If we have a really nice processor and we need a good cooling system, this would be a superb unit to roll with. We've got a nice 360 all-in-one. If you are a little more tech savvy and like getting your hands dirty and getting wet and wild with it, an open loop might be suited a little bit more for you. Open loops tend to allow systems to be chilled a lot cooler, which means that you can overclock them a lot further. And other than that, we would have a basic heat sink. Yeah, I might be saying basic, but there's nothing basic about a Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4. Those are really nice big heat sinks. That's what I've got on my Ryzen 5 36. It is perfect for that. This generation of processors, AM5s and our 14th series and 13th generation Intel chips, a box unit might not be big enough to cool some of the bigger units in those categories. So that is where having a 360 liquid cooler is pretty set for today's modern times. Battlefield 3 was the best. Yes, Battlefield 3 was so sick. You're never late. Yes, Ryzen 5 35